Previously we did buffer, so if we want to see the result, we can just go to Drill Processing in the ArcMap menu bar and go to Result, and we can just expand it here, and we can see our buffer was successfully conducted, and you can get to know what is the input feature and distance value. We set to 100,000 feet, 1,000 feet, and we make sure that the dissolve type is set to none. And once we did that, we changed the symbology to the amino violet for both fill color and outline color. So now we're going to do next is we're going to look at the attribute table of the buffer layer. So in addition to its standard attributes, the output table has attributes from the input table. Because you did not dissolve the buffers, so the output and input tables are the same number of records. There is one buffer for each populated jurisdiction. So this corresponds to record the record makes it possible to copy attributes from one table to the other. An attribute called BUFF_DIS, buffer distance, is added to the table, which shows the buffer distance you specified. So now you cannot see because I didn't expand the window, and I'm going to. So now buffer distance, and we saw that the distance is added here. So close the population jurisdiction buffer attribute table. Next, we will buffer the lookout towers layer. The buffer sizes for this layer will vary according to the visibility range of each tower. Now we're going to open the attribute table of the Portland lookout layer. And we can see that the attribute table contains an attribute called radius S2. Radius S2 right here. Radius S2 that we sorted, which is the visibility range value in feet of each tower. Next, we will specify this attribute as the buffer distance value. So we're going to close the Portland lookouts attribute table. In the menu bar, we're going to click Drill Processing and then Buffer. Or you can just click here in ArcGIS box from the Analysis tool and Proximity Buffer. On the Buffer Tool dialog box, click the Input Feature arrows and click Portland Lookouts. And then you can alternatively drag this layout and put it on top of the input features. So like what we did previously. Save the output feature class as Outlook buffer to my the same way. We're going to browse it, and here we will do Outlook buffers. Lookout. And now we already know it's my forest, Oregon forest, because we worked before in chapter 19, and you can see it's home, it's chapter 19, and we're safe, and we're going to save it here. So on the buffer tool dialog box, we're going to look the buffer distance. Buffer distance is right here with the green, and we're going to click the field option. In the field list, we're going to click radius 2. We're going to So distance, and we're going to click fill. And we go into the drop-down menu, click radius 2. So now, instead of using the linear unit, what we did was we switched to field, and now we can see field is selected, and we click field radius 2. And now we have to do one more thing, is click the dissolve type arrows and click all. Instead of none, we will change it into all. Whenever buffer polygons overlap each other, the overlapping boundaries will be dissolved to make a single feature. When the operation is completed, the new lookouts buffer layer is added to the map. So now we're going to click OK. So then, if necessary, we're going to change the color of the buffers so that they are visible against the background. So then after that down, we're going to, in the table of content, we're going to drag the buffer below the population justification buffer layer. And now we don't have to change it, and we can see that. And we're going to move it this below. And now you can see still some stuff here. Then the next step we're going to do is open attribute of the looks out buffer layer. And now we observe the table. So the table contains just a single record. Buffer created with the dissolve all option form a single feature called a multi-part polygon. A polygon with discontinuous boundaries. The attributes are the standard for a geodatabase polygon feature class, object ID, shape, we can see shape and object ID and shape underscore length and then shape underscore area. Because of the dissolve, none of the population jurisdiction buffer layers attributes are passed to the output table. So the question asks, what would happen if the lookout buffer layer was not dissolved? How would that affect how it is used when including it in other forms of geoprocessing? So there will be multiple buffer features if the dissolve option was not used. Undissolved features are not treated as a single feature, and when used in geoprocessing usage, each feature will be treated individually depending on its usage. This would not provide correct results. Okay, so now we're going to close the save everything, and the geoprocessing for chapter 19. We're going to end it here for exercise A. Now we're going to move on to exercise B. For exercise B, we're going to do overlaying data. So now we're going to open ArcGIS63 app. So in the map will show the buffer for populated jurisdictions and the Portland forest layer, and the other layers are turned off. So once it opens it up, I will point it out. For overlay, we're going to use some tools in here. Okay, so these are turned on. When you see the check mark, means only 2 layer is turned on. The first one is populated jurisdiction buffer, and the other is Portland forest. So then we go into the menu bar to use the second tool. Not the second. We already did dissolve, buffer, clip, and now we're going to do union. So for union tool, that other analysis can be accessed from ArcGIS63 on the standard toolbar. Click ArcGIS63 button in the ArcGIS63 window, expand analysis tool, and then overlay toolset. So we can see ArcGIS63, then system boxes, analysis tools, and overlay. And in overlay, you can see union. We can click from here, or we already did from the geoprocessing tool, because this tool we're going to use a lot. It's very common tool. Next, we will specify the layers to overlay and designate an output feature class. So on the Union Tool dialog box, we're going to click the input feature arrow and click population jurisdiction buffer. Alternatively, or you can drag the layer from ArcMap to the Union dialog box. So we can just do that. So then click the input feature arrow again and click Portland Forest. And we did it. Now we can see we have a two layer that so to complete union we need two or more than two layers that we can just combine them together. Now here it means the select layers are added to the list of layers that will be processed in a union. So we will be union together for them. So the same way, we're going to save the output feature class as an area at risk to my Oregon Forest Geo database. And we're going to name it area at risk. So by default, remember the output layer attribute table contains its standard attributes plus the attributes of both input layers. Optionally, you can omit the input layer identifier attributes. Alternatively, you can omit all input attributes except the identifiers. This creates a smaller output table and is convenient if you don't need to work with attributes. If you later decide that you need the input attributes, you can join or relate back to the input layer tables using the common identifier attributes. For now, you will include all the layer attributes. So now here join attributes. So we will do all. For the join attributes parameter, make sure all is selected and click OK to run the tool. When the operation is completed, the area at risk layer is added to the map. The new layer, which consists of all the areas from the two input layers, defines the zone where communities are in proximity to forest land and have a probability of either causing a fire or being at risk of damage from a fire. The layer is symbolized uniformly with a single color. And now it's done, so you can see from here.